Susan B. Anthony, one of the leaders of suffrage. Susan B. Anthony was the woman placed on the dollar coin from 1979 to 1981 and again in 1999, and that is everything that she is known for. Of course, this isn't true, as any student who has managed to not fall asleep in their history classes every single day should know her name as one of the largest suffrage activists of American history. Susan B. Anthony is an outlaw as she is recorded in history as one of the largely studied suffrage activists who legally voted and whose actions have allowed for the 19th Amendment to be passed, granting women the right to vote, and thus leading to changes in women's status and rights in society. She was born on February 15, 1820 in Massachusetts. She was born into a family of Quakers, and this heavily influenced her beliefs on equal rights. Tracy Baptist stated in Penn Barbara, Susan B. Anthony, pioneering leader of the women's rights movement, that Quakers believe that each person can feel God on his or her own. They also believe that each person has goodness inside of him or her, and because of this, they believe all people should be equal. So her being a Quaker holds more value than just her religious group happening to be the face on your cereal box. This picture provides an image of what voting looked like in the 18th and early 19th century. If you look, there are only white men. Most of the white men were probably well educated, very wealthy, and owned lots of land. This leads us to question where everyone else is. I mean, white men were not the entirety of the American population then or now. Following the Civil War, the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment were established. Of these, the 15th Amendment granted all men, which included men who could formerly not vote because of their race, the ability to vote. So the picture changed from just white men voting to now all men voting. But this still leads us to question, where are the women? I mean, the last time I checked, women were approximately half the population of the United States. I mean, except for at Georgia Tech. Due to the 15th Amendment's lack of rights for women, Susan B. Anthony opposed the 15th Amendment because, despite her Enlightenment based views and her track record of advocating for abolition and rights for previously enslaved individuals, she still believed that if anyone deserved to vote, it was educated white women first. As a method of advocating for suffrage, Susan B. Anthony decided to vote in the 1872 election. Since women were not allowed to vote during this time, she was arrested and found guilty and told to pay a fine, but she never paid it. Anthony's trial was not commenced under due process, as Matthias in biography of Susan B. Anthony states. The judge made his decision before even hearing the trial. The judge directed the jury that their verdict declares her guilty. Her radical views impaired fear within media after her trial, as evident in the political cartoon where men are portrayed to be taking on the roles of women, taking care of the children, while women take on the roles of men by advocating. Her decision to vote was one of her displays in actions in the call for women's suffrage, the push for women to have equal rights to men, as during this time, women had no power. Other displays were of her serving as president in the National American Women's Suffrage Association, traveling nationally to provide speeches to the public on the lack of rights women have and her persuasions toward equality through the guaranteeing of these rights. Surprisingly enough, Anthony was not in presence at the Seneca Falls Convention, but her influence did allow for the Seneca Falls Convention to occur, and this convention is argued to have been a key changing point on the population's opinion, the men's opinion, since they were the ones in power. In the Historical Encyclopedia of American Business, Pilver states that more than 300 men and women attended the Seneca Falls Convention and voted to approve the Declaration of Sentiments and Resolutions, which was heavily based upon the Declaration of Independence. Now, this Declaration of Sentiments and Resolutions demanded that women have equal rights of citizenships, personal liberty and property, equal wages and opportunities to be employed, guardianship of children on divorce, and the ability to participate in church and civic government. In modern times, the ability to vote is not limited to a certain ethnicity or to a certain gender. Anyone can vote as long as they hold a U.S. citizenship and are above the age of 18. While Susan B. Anthony passed away before the ratification of the 19th Amendment, the amendment that granted women the right to vote, which due to her dedication, is often regarded as the Susan B. Anthony Amendment and holds an outstanding fine, she is still one of the most discussed women's suffrage activists. In 2020, the Center for American Women in Politics reported that 68.4% of women who were registered to vote voted. The National Center for Science and Engineering Statistics also reported a 3% increase in the percentage of women who hold a STEM related occupation. Thanks to her dedication, the women of today have the power to vote, hold office, possess a job in STEM related careers that were previously designated for men, and inherit or possess economical values, as well as other rights that were not guaranteed in the 19th century.